See, how was I like as a kid? I don't know. I was bad as hell when I was younger. But I can't even say I was a bad kid. I was very inquisitive. Let's go with that, inquisitive. Growing up in PG County was super dope for me because, you know, I came from North Carolina. And so public schools, you got to wear a uniform. You know what I'm saying? So that was like super new to me, wearing a uniform. And you know, the DMV area, especially, cats is way flyer. You know what I'm saying? Like, fashion is everything. Like, he's definitely joning on me because I came down there with the southern accent and, you know, my gear wasn't up to par. But it was super dope. I grew up in the culture. You know what I'm saying? My folks is the culture. And so hip-hop, that was just the hip-hop was just, you know, the background music to my life. These artists that I still, you know, look up to today that was playing in the background, creating these memories.
Welcome to the new millennium. Oh my God, little dude is killing them. Flow so sick, penicillin not healing them. We pumping like adrenaline. Or better yet, we pumping like bench press. We leave you defenseless. My man's got some tools. I ain't talking about wrenches. We blaze every part.
I started rapping when I was like 10, but I ain't started like recording. When I mean recording, like recording every day, like working on that shit like every day.
Correct.
A couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was working at Fridays when I was in school. I mean, just being a server, you know what I'm saying, sort of sucked. It was just not tight, you know what I'm saying? And because I always just knew, you know, my potential and what more I could do. So I just felt very limited as a creative and as a human being.
You talk about, I forgot what record it was, but you talk about how the older generation has disappointed you. You said old niggas have disappointed you.
Old it's super tight just looking back at it because it was the only song like that, you know what I'm saying, that was around. And it was more so sort of like the opening lines of old and new. Now what's the difference? We all in the same boat in a stuck position, meaning we're all dealing with the same oppressors. We all dealing with the same marginalization of society. You know what I'm saying? Systemic, you know, all these things that we're going through. So we need to have an agreement. You know what I'm saying? Because it's such a generational gap between, you know, the old generation and the younger. So it was no perspective from the young generation. Hip hop is like polarizing. You know what I'm saying? It brings a discussion.
I don't know where I'm going, but I hope I'm on the right path. Life will hit you with a light jab. Mike Tyson, strike back.
The song is like, I don't know where I'm going, but I hope I'm on the right path. And that's like the project that I'm about to drop, The Lost Boy.
Yeah.
So it kind of all coincides together. You know what I'm saying? Just finding yourself, finding your path.
The Lost Boy title really came from how I was feeling as a, you know, a human being. It's sort of like a coming of age story, you know, just finding out like what exactly is our individual purpose in life. Like what will we put on this earth to do? So anybody who hasn't really found like their passion is lost in a sense. You know what I'm saying? I'm still, you know, figuring out things about myself as well through this process. So we're all lost in a sense. And so that was just, The Lost Boy was just necessarily like my story, you know? So that day at Puff's house with Meek and Fat Joe and everybody in there.
He is special one. And at the Diddy cypher, you know what I'm saying? You can't be greedy with the plug. You know what I'm saying? At the Diddy cypher, everybody gotta have respect for the plug. You know what I'm saying? So we can hear everybody's shit. But this don't give a. He wanted so bad, and I love him, that he asked, can you play another? And I say, hell yes!
Their reaction and everybody like with the music and vibing with the music gave me the confidence to go back in the studio and create more, you know what I'm saying? So that was a big like inspirational moment for me because I was right in the middle of creating the album. So I left that and went back to the studio and started creating some more, you know what I'm saying? Because I played them like a couple of key songs. I think I played 1,000 Words, Have Mercy, and the intro, Wintertime. I played all of them joints in there, and like people was like vibing with it, and I was like, okay, like this is first, it's surreal to even be there, you know what I'm saying, in the room with all those cats. But secondly, it was just super dope to see them like really with my music, you know what I'm saying? It was super tight.
One of y'all gonna be fucking with me. I got 2 bad gonna be rubbing my feet. I got 3 young down the bus at the heat, and y'all ain't got nothing on me.
R&P came together, that beat. I got that beat from Cole probably 2 weeks after Old came out, and I played that beat for Anderson. He with the beat heavy, And so we just recorded it like, you know, back and forth. And my boy Dim Joints added like the yeah, and like, you know, the ear candy for it. And, you know, it was a process to that song where we cut it down. You know, we have the actual song. Then I was like, yo, we need like a really dope, dramatic beginning to that song, you know? So it was super tight.
Trouble in my way.
Trouble in my way.
I have to cry sometimes.
Cry sometime.
Trouble in my way.
Trouble in my way.
I have to cry sometimes.
My grandmother's definitely a huge part of the album. You know, she's on the interlude skit, Grandma's House. That's really like, you know, that's my actual grandmother singing that. And, you know, just because she's a huge part of my life. Like, my grandma raised me. I was raised by an old lady. And so, you know, she has a huge part in who I am today and what I'm going to do in life.
Did she get the chance to hear it ever? Or
Oh, yeah. She called me. She was like, man, my line been blowing up, Cordae.
My line been blowing up.
My line been, man,
Grandma
boy.
popping out there.
We hot. Yeah, Grandma said, we hot in these streets. They was like, we need to make some more songs. You know what I'm saying?
Family Matters, I was almost not gonna put it on the album because it's, you know, it's so personal and so true. You know, all I can do is just tell my story and what goes on in my life. You know what I'm saying? And so, but I felt like the vulnerability and, you know, the transparency of that record was gonna be something that so many people can relate to. And, you know, that's always a track that when I'm on the road, somebody's like, yo, like, that's the one that really did it for me. Like, that sparked conversations between me and my family that was much needed. You know what I'm saying? So it just shows, like, you know, how powerful music is. With this album, you know, I just wanted to be as transparent as possible. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to be as transparent and honest and vulnerable as possible. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like we have that duty as an artist because, you know, a lot of times we're looked at as superheroes. We're put on this higher pedestal, but now I'm a human being, you know, first and foremost.
I love to watch, like, you know, like the YBN Cordaes come up, and you're like, oh shit, he's gonna be the next. You know what I'm saying?
YBN Cordae.
Oh, now he's you gotta give him an ear. They got these new artists that you actually, you know, you gotta let them know. You gotta give them an ear. Now you can't just hear him. You gotta listen to him. He be spitting.
My hard as shit. Brand new Zoo review. He hard as yeah, real shit. But wake up.
Getting a Grammy nom for Best Rap Album was tight. I was actually in Turks and Caicos like during that. That was like my first like vacation ever. So it was just very timely. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna be back there every year winning, and we're gonna be winning these BET Awards every year. You know what I'm saying? It's a process. You know what I'm saying? I'm super happy to be nominated for Best New Artist at the BET Awards. You know what I'm saying? Because BET Awards is just as important as the Grammys. You know, with all the stuff we as black people are going through right now, it feels weird even talking about, you know, my accomplishments and, you know, my music and, you know, all of that stuff because all of that shit, it's, you know, we out here dying. You know what I'm saying? Left and right, male and female. As a people, we just got to stick together, organize, and uprise the other side. You know what I'm saying? You either with us or you against us. And that's always been my energy. Like, you know, Huey Newton's revolutionary suicide. Revolutionary suicide does not mean that you have a death wish. It means the opposite. It means to live without the existence of hope and dignity is impossible. I quote that and say all that to say we just too nice. You know what I'm saying? It's really time to do what we got to do by all means necessary. Hip hop arose from the voice of the unheard. So that's what we have the responsibility to continue that, because that's the core and the origin of what hip hop is, to represent the voice of the people that's unheard. I feel like this year is going to be transformative when we look back at it, you know, because if it were not for coronavirus, would we be getting all this attention, you know, towards, you know, police brutality that's been going on for ever? We need to utilize this to really create a shift in, you know, in the system and all of these things, and realize like our power. As an artist, you got to think legacy. In the grand scheme of things, I want to be, you know, remembered for, you know, using my platform to create actual change and inspire. I want to really inspire some
some great people to, you know, to do what they got to do and really create change with my platform that's going to continue to grow and really make a difference in people's lives.